Estás escuchando a Radio Ebola con Ego Plum. You are listening to Ebola Music Radio with Ego Plum.
I'm your host. I am Ego Plum. And today thank you very much. I am joined by the wonderful and talented crew of Making Fiends, which so happens to be #1 original program on the Nicktoons Network. And I am joined by Miss Amy Winfrey, creator of Making Fiends.
We're just burning up airtime.
I know, we're going to be doing this
crazy,
applause every...
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
We don't have to do that.
Dave Wasson.
Oh, we should do it. Come on, let's give it up.
Okay, whatever.
And Aglaia Mortcheva.
Okay, now we can stop.
Yeah, now please.
Okay, Amy, let's start with how you and I met, actually. Do you remember how we...
Yeah, I met you at Spotlight, which was the UCLA awards ceremony. You had scored another film that had won a award, and I was one of the other award winners.
Correct. I was there to watch the film that I scored, but I saw this thing called Bad Plant, which is a really peculiar film, and I went out of my way to find who made that. So I was asking around, who made this film Bad Plant? It was so strange. And someone said, that's Amy Winfrey over there in the corner. She was just standing away from the crowd. And I went, this is when I worked at UCLA, and I would frequent the film department. I would take my bag of CDs and demos. I was trying to break out of that and into the world of composing for animation or film or whatever. So I introduced myself, and I think I gave you a CD at that point. I don't remember the extent of a...
I think, yeah, I don't think you gave me one maybe right then, but yeah, I remember you because of your name.
Can I ask what the premise of the film was?
Yeah, why don't you tell us what Bad Plant was about?
It was about a small potted plant that wanted to escape its boring existence. So it plots the end of people in the household.
Have you seen that, Aglaia?
Yes, of course.
Aglaia was in the program with me,
Yeah.
so she was in the same class.
So at the same time while you were working on Bad Plant, you were taking this interactive class, right? That's where you developed this the Traffic Cone Preservation Society. And from what I understand, that sort of took off on the internet, and you were getting emails from all around the world. And people submitting pictures of traffic cones, and it sort of became its own little internet phenomenon. From there on, you went out and started Muffin Films, which was an online-based web cartoon series. What I want to do at this point is play some of the music from that series. Do you want to introduce these next few songs, Amy?
I Dream of Muffins was one of the first pieces I did in Muffin Films, and I learned how to use this sort of sampling program where I took a sample of me saying and I used that as an instrument in that piece. And I also did a lot of speeding up things because I could only play the keyboard really slow. So because I don't know how to play piano. So then I'd have to speed everything up. So I did a lot of like kind of speed sort of things.
Okay, let's listen to that. What's it called again? I Dream of Muffins?
I Dream of Muffins.
Okay. We just heard I Dream of Muffins by Amy Winfrey. We're going to play a few other tracks from the Muffin Films. This is, what is this, Amy?
This is Muffin-esque.
Okay.
It's kind of a dreamy piece.
Right. And then after that, we're going to hear what?
Then we're going to hear...
Robot Muffin?
Robot Muffin. Okay, yeah, this is actually, it's not one of the Muffin Films, but I had a little test so you could see if you had the Flash plug-in, and it's just a tiny little dancing robot.
Great. Whoa.
But it's one of my favorite music pieces from Muffin Films.
Good, okay. And then after that, I'm going to play this untitled demo that you did, I guess when you were experimenting with using your samples.
Yeah.
And then I'll play Muffinale, which was, I guess, the final
episode. The big,
episode.
epic, yeah.
Right.
Final episode.
Let's listen to that.
Muffin Ollie. Muffin? No thanks. I don't like muffins. You don't like muffins? You don't like muffins? How can you not like muffins when we're delicate and sweet? How can you not like muffins when we're so good to eat? Muffins come in many different flavors and different sizes too. If you think you don't like one, just try a different kind. Just try another kind. Oh, how can you not like muffins? They never did you no harm. How can you not like muffins when they're fresh and warm? It's really rude to hate muffins when we so like you. Muffins are quite fond of people. Why don't you like us too? Why don't you like us too? Why don't you like us too? Oh, so please try another muffin. Give us a nice big bite. Go out and taste our muffin. You'll find that we are right. We're all sides up. Oh, all right. Yeah. Wow, you were right. Muffins are great.
Wow.
Yay.
Okay, so now let's get to the reason we're here, Making Fiends. Okay? Amy, give us a little bit of the history of the show. I mean, what was the main inspiration behind Making Fiends? How did it come about? What made you create a show about these two characters, Charlotte and Vendetta?
I'm not really sure how I got the idea for Making Fiends. I wanted to make another show because my show before Big Bunny was suddenly stopped by the production company, and Aglaia's petting my shoes.
Those are cute.
It's very nice.
They're fuzzy. Aww. They're like kittens or something.
Okay, focus.
Kittens.
Let's focus.
Okay, focus.
They are nice. Though.
I don't have a very good story. I wish I did.
Okay, well, I know what people want to know about. This is always fascinating, especially to artists trying to do what you did. Talk about the transition from a web series to television. I mean, take us into there so we could know how we could all be famous and on TV too.
Well, I actually was just contacted by Nickelodeon. They asked if I wanted to make it a TV show, so I had a kind of unusual situation where like, oh, well, I'll have to think about that. I didn't go and pitch this to them. So
Did you find out how they heard about the show?
Yeah, it was through a director that was at Nickelodeon. His daughter liked it a lot.
And this was, just to give it some context, this was like about 6 shows in on the web series, is that right? Like when they first contacted you.
Yeah, they first contacted me. I think I just, released maybe the 6th or the 7th.
The first thing I want to do is I want to share with the audience some songs from the original web series, which I think are really, really great. I don't know if this is called Vendetta Vendetta. Is that?
Oh, Vendetta Vendetta, you are a good friend.
Correct. I'm
I
going to
don't
play
know what
this,
that
then
is.
I'm going to play the Vote song, and then I'm playing I'm Invisible
Oh, okay.
and Concrete Shoes. So this is just to give people an idea of the music Amy was making for her web series before I came on board or any of this Nickelodeon stuff happened. So let's listen to these songs first.
Vendetta, Vendetta, you are a good friend. Vendetta, Vendetta, you have knees that bend. Vendetta, Vendetta, you have such good luck. I hope that you never get hit by a truck. Vendetta, Vendetta, you have shiny hair. Vendetta, Vendetta, you're nice and you care. Vendetta, Vendetta, I hope that you float, 'cause then you will never get
Vendetta, vendetta, you have pretty clothes. Vendetta, vendetta, you gave me a hat. I'm glad we're together inside this big cat. Inside this big cat. Vote, vote, vote. Vote, vote, vote. Unless you are a donut, 'cause donuts don't vote. Vote, vote, vote. Vote, vote, vote. Unless you are a potted plant, 'cause potted plants don't vote. Small gray fish that hide a lot. Seaweed tangled up in knots. So much to see, so much to do. You can see it all in concrete shoes. Many different kinds of sand. Things that live in rusty cans. So much to see, so much to do. You can see it all in concrete shoes. So why don't you get concrete shoes? Shrimp that pick on bits of rocks. Barnacles that cling to docks. Unidentified gobs of goo. You can see it all in concrete shoes. So why don't you get concrete shoes? Everybody needs concrete shoes. Da 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 dee 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 dee. It's clear to see you can't see me, 'cause I'm invisible as can be. It seems that you can see through me, 'cause I'm invisible, tee-hee-hee.
We're back. Yay!
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, those were the tracks which I think are really great. And now I remember when Amy sent me the message, I got an email from Amy saying that she was going to be putting Making Fiends on Nickelodeon and asking me if I would be interested in working on the show. And my first instinct, and I think I even told you, was that I didn't think you needed a composer. I thought it'd be great to just apply the stuff you had. But of course, you know, a composer was needed for incidental music and a bunch of stuff. So what was neat was when you first sent me that message, I actually was inspired immediately, and I came up with a few demos. This is something based on one of the episodes, I think the song called Kitty Kitty that Charlotte was singing, and another one called Feeding Vendetta's Pets. So these are sort of the first demos that I submitted to you to listen to. And I guess this is the first time anybody's hearing these outside of you or I or this team, right?
I'm not even sure I heard them.
I don't think
Really?
maybe Dave
Oh,
even
cool.
heard
Okay,
them.
so here we go. Yay!
Yay.
Oh, that sucked.
I didn't like it. I can't.
Yeah.
And we still hired him.
Well, really, on that note, there's something I've kind of always wanted to know. Like, how did you go about picking me to be the composer of the show? I mean, how did you know that you were making the right choice, or why did you pick me to be the person?
You were the cheapest.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Cheapest and yeah.
No,
No.
that's not true.
Yeah, no, I was Nickelodeon gave me a lot of freedom in who I would get to choose as a composer. They handed me a bunch of demo CDs for me to listen to, and I started listening, and I wasn't hearing what I wanted to hear, and I remembered you from, you've sent me CDs before of your stuff, and you just seemed like you were a good fit for Making Fiends. You had this sort of imagination and ability to take something odd and use it as part of the music, craft your own sort of instruments and homemade things that just seemed like it fit really well with the sort of homemade feel of Making Fiends.
Oh, that's nice to hear. Good. Well, what about the fact that, I had never actually composed for a television series? Was there ever a concern between you guys? Dave, I mean, you had done this stuff before. You know the importance of having a capable and experienced composer on a project like this. I think you actually took a bold risk, and I appreciate it, but I'm curious what your thoughts are on that.
I mean, you'd done a feature film.
That's true. Yeah. I was concerned, actually, initially. Like, Amy and I did have a couple of conversations about that for that reason. And then, because Amy knew you, and you guys had a relationship, but I'd also worked with composers, and I did know, like, what a grind TV is. I mean, you're just banging this stuff out really, really fast. So, like you said, having somebody who's really seasoned is important. But once Amy kind of played for me the music that you submitted, it was really different. All the things that she was saying, the way that you take, like, either like old instruments or just you have like a really interesting take on music. And so it made it worth the risk to us. And then ultimately, I mean, you did great, and you were able to keep up with the schedule and everything. So,
and I mean, my feeling was I've never made a TV show. Aglaia's never done voices for a TV show. There are a lot of things that we hadn't done,
Right.
We're already taking a risk.
Why not add another?
Right.
Why not?
Why not add more risk to an already dangerous situation?
Volatile. Right. But we all turn out to be pros, right?
That's right.
Dave, so in that situation, do you sort of have to make a quick, judgment of character and sort of make sure that I'm not out of my mind, like, instantly?
Didn't we have to do a background check on you? So we knew that you hadn't, killed anybody.
That's right. We do have to do that. But I mean, we had meetings. We met a couple times, and you seemed like you had a good sense of humor. But I mean, you are taking a leap of faith to some degree. But like, I mean, really, it's like you said, we really liked your music, and we met with you, and we seemed to like click and have some chemistry. So yeah, I mean, that based on that's how we went forward.
Right. And
we should go out together sometimes.
Weren't you?
Yeah, and you were wearing those pants that I like.
Weren't you nervous? Like, there was a point where I just grew that beard and started wearing that safari outfit every day.
You did. Yeah, I think you did everything you could to make me even more concerned. Yeah, often after you would leave, I would take Amy aside and be like, "Are you sure you want this guy?" I mean,
actually,
look at him.
I forgot there was a concern right when I first said I wanted you to be a part of it. Like, some people, like on our production, said, "Ego Plum, are you sure you want to work with somebody with a big ego?"
Oh my God.
Yeah, that
Right.
actually happened. Yeah, they were concerned because of your name.
Let's take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Estás escuchando a Radio Ebola con Ego Plum. You are listening to Ebola Music Radio with Ego Plum.
Okay, so at the point where you were finally at Nickelodeon with your office and the production was starting, I mean, how difficult was it for you to sort of relinquish responsibility for things that you used to do all yourself. Essentially, we're talking the
Yeah.
music and the animation and everything, and sort of get a team of how many? How big was the team for Making Fiends?
There would be about 20 people working on it in some capacity.
Right. I
Yeah,
mean,
Yeah, I
she
think
didn't
that's
relinquish
about right.
responsibility.
20 or 30,
She
yeah.
kept,
That's the
putting
thing.
in everywhere.
I didn't relinquish responsibility, so I felt responsible for everything
Yeah.
that other people created. It was a little more overwhelming than I thought it'd be because I
it was a
thought
small crew.
I've made a show. I've made this all on my own. I animated everything myself. How much harder could it be to tell somebody else?
so
to
how
do
much
it?
harder
But
was it?
It was hard. It really was, especially because we had so many different shorts in production at once. So I would
Right.
be overseeing a script from one, looking at character designs from Aglaia for another, and looking at a storyboard and doing sound, all on
another
different
one.
ones.
Yeah, like
Right.
5.
Yeah. So it was overwhelming because they did have us after all that time. We had to do everything within a year.
Right. So I mean, even though clearly you had experience in creating your own shows online, but when it comes to developing something for television, it's got to be a whole different monster. And I think that's where someone like Dave Wasson
Yeah,
comes in.
that's where Dave made things easier.
I don't know. Did I introduce you, Dave?
I don't know.
Did I tell everyone that you're a
No, I don't think
Savory
so.
character.
animator, director, producer?
No, I don't think you did.
Served as the supervising producer and director of Making Fiends. Yes,
Yes, that's right.
that's right.
That's right.
Do I need to mention that Dave Wasson is also a winner of a Annie Award and perhaps a little thing called an Emmy?
You might want to mention that. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Right. Let's take this moment to introduce Aglaia. I don't know if we give her the proper introduction, did we? Somebody
Not
tell me.
proper
No.
enough.
Yeah.
Aglaia Mortcheva, voice actor, character designer, animator, painter. What other stuff you do? You're all over the place.
Yeah, I am all over the place. I actually started my career in live action, so I was a director first.
Oh, awesome.
Live action. So.
I have to tell you, I think the voice of Vendetta is probably the most unique voice of a character on television. I mean, it's insane. How did that voice come about? I mean, how did you guys sort of figure out this is what this
We were
Vendetta
trying
character?
to remember with Amy, and in my mind, it was just something very easy somehow. But she remembers better than I do.
I remember you saying that it was when your niece was mad. That
My
was
niece
the-
was what,
that
like
was the
2,
voice.
3
Yeah,
3 years
yeah.
old at that point.
Yeah. And also, I felt pretty guilty casting Aglaia as the bad character, like with her Bulgarian accent. But I tried her actually as Charlotte just a little bit, just to see how it would be.
Yeah, it's just not me.
And
yeah.
Charlotte speaks so much that it was just too much.
Yeah.
And then when I found out that Aglaia won't even sing when she's alone, then that was that was it.
I totally hate singing.
So
Totally
yeah,
hate-
Vendetta seems to fit somehow
No,
too.
Yeah,
like,
it just
No.
I totally hate
But I
singing.
did feel like
She
kind of
actually
guilty because it's
hates
like what
singing,
Rocky and Bullwinkle, there's always the evil sort of, but not Bulgarian. They're
Yeah,
mostly
no,
Russian.
Bulgarian, no, they're
Right.
mostly
Yeah.
Russian.
So really, how much of that Vendetta character would you say is actually you, Aglaia?
Well, I would say I want to say that it's not me, but I actually think it's it's a lot of it is me. And
knowing her, I would say yes. There's definitely a good 65% of it that is.
65%. Except I don't want to destroy anyone or anything like that. But
Well, I've heard you say you wanted to destroy
Yeah,
people.
but
I want to destroy.
You're stronger than her. Like you can lift objects.
I can lift objects.
Yeah.
I'm moving right now, so
Yeah.
trust me, I'm lifting
Yeah.
a lot of heavy objects.
You're less green too.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So how do
Green
you
tint.
go about sort of harnessing that Vendetta anger and frustration that character
I
is?
use the Stanislavski method.
Well,
I analyze.
I don't even know what you're talking about. What is this?
Stanislavski. It's an acting
Stanislavski
method. Very
is an acting
renowned
method.
Oh,
yeah.
right,
acting
right.
teacher.
It's actually, I should say, Stanislavski's system, which is like you analyze, you research a lot of psychology, a lot of, and then I just say like, my hamster doesn't like singing a few times, and I'm in character.
Just like Robert De Niro.
Yeah,
That's great.
like
Let's take
the method
let's take a
acting.
quick break and we'll be right back.
Estás escuchando a Radio Ebola con Ego Plum.
Swing, 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 set, swing me to the moon. I can't breathe there, so bring me back real soon. My hamster doesn't like singing. You'd better watch out. He can cut more than rope with those scissors. He can cut paper too? No. Cardboard? No. Coupons? No. Beards? Buttercups? No. Ribbon? Oh, never mind. She's so mysterious, but nice.
Estás escuchando a Radio Ebola con Ego Plum.
We're back. I'm Ego Plum, and you're listening to Ebola Music Radio on www.ebolamusic.com. You know, you don't have to say the WW part anymore nowadays, right?
It's
No.
kind of understood.
Although it's kind of like a sort of formal introduction to what you're about to say.
Yeah.
So you're
maybe
like kind of
right.
pay attention once they say
That's true.
www.
And you notice you're about to learn
Yeah.
the place to go.
And if you say triple W, it might sound too suave.
That is a little too suave.
Triple
and
W,
a
yeah.
little obnoxious.
Yeah.
Do people say that?
I don't know.
Triple W?
Triple W.
Well, actually,
I think
triple
the whole
W would
W
be
thing,
6
huh?
U's, right?
Huh.
Whoa.
Yeah, that could get confusing.
Huh?
That's
Huh?
pretty sweet.
See what I did there?
I got you. I'm with you. I'm following you.
I think people don't like the W anymore.
Maybe that's what
after
you should
the W.
say. 6 U's. We're here at 6 U's. Dot Ebola Music.
Okay, so Aglaia, let me continue with you for a second.
Yeah.
I want to play these next a couple of songs here, and I want to get your comments on them first. One is called "If You Lived Upon the Moon," and another one is the Best Friend song. You want to comment on those?
Let me tell you first that when I knew, I asked Amy, please, Amy, don't make me sing for this show. And she was like, guess what? I've wrote all these songs that you're going to sing. So I'm like, oh, no, I hate singing. So I couldn't sleep all night before like the first, singing recording session. And I've kind of erased them from my memory.
But I was surprised. She got kind of too good at singing, and I wanted her to stay sort of rough and like more out of tune. And she actually became a little professional. Like I felt like I had to be like, stop learning the lyrics beforehand, Aglaia.
Yeah, they
I'm just
stopped
gonna
telling
say
me.
Right.
They didn't even. She wouldn't
Because,
even give
yeah.
me this. You guys.
Yeah, we wouldn't give
Right.
her the song,
The
so
song
she
or
wouldn't
anything.
get better at it because we want to keep Vendetta with a kind of crazy voice, and she was actually
Right.
And
Beginning
actually, I
to
mean,
get on.
it's kind of hard singing in character. I mean, I wasn't expecting that being so hard because Vendetta's intonation, the way she like stresses, is like sometimes doesn't just,
it's different
doesn't
than
come with the music.
sort of like
and-
the rhythm of the song.
Yeah, so
I happen
Yeah.
to remember that in one of those sessions, you did the song in one take, and we used the first. She just did it, and
Yep.
it was the one we used.
Which-
Remember that,
which
Dave?
song
Was
Yeah.
the Friends, Best
I think
Friends?
it might have been way.
Wait,
Oh,
yeah.
you're right.
Yeah.
You know what? We should
Yeah.
play that one too.
Oh yeah,
I thought
yeah.
that's
Oh
what
my
you were
God, I
talking
like-
about.
Wait.
Oh yeah, Best Friend song.
Best
That's
Friends,
right.
yeah.
Yeah,
Sorry.
best friends.
Okay,
yeah.
so let's hear those. Actually, let's dig up an old song as well from the original web series. Is it called "I Wish You Were a Christmas Tree"?
Oh yeah, yeah.
so
that
let's
was
play-
the first time that I'd ever made her sing, and
Okay.
I at that point I didn't know that she didn't sing.
Right. So let's hear that one first, and then we'll hear the evolution into Best Friend song and "If You Lived Upon the Moon." Okay, here we go.
I wish Charlotte was a Christmas tree, a stupid little pine. I'd chop her down and take her home, and she would be all mine. Oh, if Charlotte was a Christmas tree, I'll deck her halls with care, and wrap her tight with twinkly lights, and torment her with bears. Oh, I would never water her, I'd poke her eyes with wire. When Christmas time is over, I throw her in the fire. I wish Charlotte was a Christmas tree, a stupid little pine. I'd chop her down and take her home, when she would be all mine. We. Hey, I'll pretend to have fun. Just me and my best friend Marion. We skate on skates with stupid wheels and squeal like stupid people squeal. Yippee! We stuff ourselves and get a little fatter because eating cupcakes makes Charlotte sadder. Even with puppets, I'll pretend to have fun. Just me and my new friend Marion. Just me and my best friend Marion. If you lived upon the moon, I'd be happy, for you would be many, many thousands of miles away from me. If you lived upon the moon, you would get sick of gray, and hopefully you jump too high and drift too far away. The moon is full of dust, the moon does not have air. If you fell in a crater, nobody would care. Maybe you'll get hit by a rover, maybe you'd fall in a pit. If there was a meteor shower, perhaps you would get hit. If you lived upon the moon, what fun times I would have. I watch you through my telescope and laugh and laugh and laugh.
Okay, go.
Yeah.
Yay.
Wow. What a powerhouse.
Smashing.
How does it feel hearing that again?
Oh, feels great. Oh.
Aglaia, I don't know if you're prepared for this, but I wanted to ask you what some of your favorite songs or cues were from the series, because I want you to pick songs for the next set.
Oh, definitely my favorite song is Cheesy's. That was the best. No, which one is it? Cheesy's better with my best friend. Like every time, like I see Cheese now, I'm just like Cheesy's better with my best friend. I love it. That's my totally favorite song.
Cheese is better with your best friend. Cheddar's nicer when they are two. Cheese is best when you can share. Squeezy's better with me and you. Cheese, cheese, oh, let us share and eat cheeses without care. Cheese with a friend. Let's eat till the cheeses end. Cheese is good when you're together. Good as tasty when they are two. Cheese is best with your best friend. Cheddar's better when they are two.
One of my all-time favorites is the Onions song from the Onion commercial.
Onions. Who wants onions? They're so good, so good to eat. Ooh, ooh, onions. That round and punchy treat. Ooh, ooh, onions. What a special, special treat. Ooh, ooh, onions. How many can you eat? Onions.
And a couple of... Oh yeah, I like the middle managing song.
Middle managing is quite fun. It takes lots of different people to get things done. If you middle manage, you'll never be alone. 'Cause middle managers can't manage alone.
And one of my favorite cues is the Clam Lounge when Vendetta is watching TV and she's watching Clam Show. So
In Middle Manager.
that's in the middle manager, right? Yeah. Cheese.
Okay, enough on Aglaia for a minute. Let's go back to poor Dave Wasson sitting in the corner there. Bored as hell.
Hi.
Falling asleep.
Hi, everybody.
Speaking of falling asleep, tell us about the time that we had a meeting at 1 p.m. or so at Nickelodeon, and I walked in 5 minutes early and you were sleeping on the couch. Remember that?
No, I was asleep. Well, there was a reason for that. Because of our very tight schedule, I was coming in. There was a period when I was coming in like at 5 a.m. to begin calling retakes. And then once everybody else started showing up, then we would do our meetings. And then we were, I think, editing until 11:30 or something like that. So the days were really long.
Yeah.
So for
Got
me,
our sleep on the run.
yeah, lunch would be like grab a quick sandwich and then take a big nap. That was like my favorite part of lunch was the sleeping. And you must have seen me during that.
Right. I think that's what it was. I mean, obviously, you were brought into this project because you're an accomplished director. You've done this before. You've seen animation projects through from development all the way to the TV screen. Talk about this series in particular, how different this was to work on as opposed to the other shows you did. Actually, also let us know what the other shows were that you did.
Let's see. Okay, I first started at Nickelodeon. There was a show called Oh Yeah Cartoons that started as it was a show that Fred Seibert pitched that basically was going to consist of just shorts, like pilots. So within each half-hour show, there'd be 3 different cartoons that could potentially, the idea was that potentially, if one of those cartoons turned out really good or got a great response, then that would become its own show. And that's where Fairly Odd Parents came from, and Teenage Robot. I'm trying to think if there's anything. Oh, Chalk Zone, which was also another Nickelodeon show. So that's where those shows came from. And I did 11 shorts for them. I didn't end up getting anything picked up by Nickelodeon, but during that time, a few of those things were in festivals, and Cartoon Network saw some of those, and then they asked me to pitch a show over there. So I pitched a show called Time Squad, which ran for a couple of years over there, and I executive produced that and directed all the episodes on that show. And then after that, I was an executive producer and director on a show called The Buzz on Maggie over at Disney, which was Disney's first Flash animated show. And that was maybe a couple of years before Making Fiends. And then I came back over to Nickelodeon and was doing some development stuff with Nickelodeon, helping them out with different projects. Stuff that they kind of they had that they were interested in, but they weren't exactly sure how to shape it, or they felt like it needed some development. So things would sort of come to me, and I would get to flesh them out, which was that was a super fun job. And that's where I first became aware of Making Fiends.
Okay. So how different was it working on a show like Making Fiends? How would you compare that experience to the other shows that you worked on?
Right. Yeah, that was a question, right? Sorry, I got confused. The thing that was really different, there were a couple things that were different about it. One of them was the fact that it was decidedly being done a little more economically than any of the other shows. We had a tighter budget and we had a tighter schedule. So that was challenging because we were really moving fast. But the other thing is Amy had already done so much work on Making Fiends that we had a really good jumping off point. So it wasn't like we were starting from scratch on something, which was the case with the other shows that I'd worked on, where we were really developing from the ground up. Amy had already done so much work, we had a really great jumping off point.
Right. I'm curious, was there, because of the budget and time constraints, was there stuff that you guys were not able to do that you wanted to achieve in the shows?
We were still able to pretty much do what we wanted to do.
Yeah.
It just hurt more.
Yeah.
Because it was just,
we were able to do a lot.
We paid for it in flesh from
Yeah.
just working our butts off, working crazy hours.
Yeah,
and,
I mean, I like the scripts, but it's I went home with the scripts and I wrote scripts on my own after the long day of being at Nickelodeon.
So Dave, why don't you go ahead and pick some of the songs you liked and introduce them for this next set. You'll be the guest DJ for the next few songs.
Sweet.
Can I cut that sweet out if you don't mind?
What?
All right. So sorry.
What should I? Awesome. Is that better?
Go on.
Well, let's see. Swiss Banker was always one of my favorites. When Mr. Milk sang about his dream of becoming a Swiss banker. That was a lot of fun, and that was a lot of fun to do the visuals for, too.
Could I be a Swiss banker? Might I be a Swiss banker? Would I be? Let's see. I could count Swiss francs while I yodel, eat fondue with the locals, work with clients overseas, keep us safe filled up with cheese. Climb mountain tops and make accounts, transfer funds in small amounts, skip through meadows without care. Mrs. Minty would be there. We could pick wildflowers in the spring, listen to the cuckoo sing, enjoy the pretty alpine view, find a chalet built for two.
Or three.
Yes, if I could be a Swiss banker.
Then you should be a Swiss banker.
And I would live wonderfully.
And another one that was really great to sort of put do a musical montage with was Let's Pretend.
Why don't we pretend to be workers in a factory? I'll glue eyeballs onto dolls and you can check the quality. Why don't we pretend to be telemarketers? Yippee! We can sell long-distance plans and call and call and call. Let's pretend it is fun to pretend. Let's pretend that this is fun. Why don't we pretend to be CEOs of companies? We can point at things on screens and work hard at racquetball. Why don't we pretend to be jellyfish way out at sea? We can drift along for hours and never move at all.
Those were good. Did you want to hear any of the cues that I liked, Ego?
Sure, I'd love to showcase what I did.
Excellent. These are some cues that Ego did that I particularly enjoyed. One of them was Vendetta's parents' theme. Very good. It had sort of an Eastern European, crazy, Kazakhstanish feel to it.
That's
And
more
kind
like
of something-
Asia.
Did it have something to do with our hearing an ice cream truck at Ego's every time too? Like there was that one that had a
right.
vaguely sort of like a
Russian
kind of song.
Right. It almost sounded like the theme from
Yeah.
Tetris or something,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
Yeah,
That,
yeah.
that did
There were a lot
inspire the music.
Yeah.
A
For
lot of ice cream trucks
Yeah,
around
Ego's got
house.
about every 10 minutes there's an ice cream truck.
We were never sure if he was playing us a cue to listen to or if something was driving by on the street. It was very confusing. And the Mr. Huggles theme.
Let's do it. Okay, here we go. And we're back. Yay.
Man, that was some cue.
Okay.
How do you do it?
Wow. Okay, we're back on Ebola Music Radio. You are listening to our Making Fiends special with our very special guests, Amy Winfrey, Aglaia Mortcheva. Did I get that right?
Yes.
Dave Wasson,
That's not correct.
What is that, Wasson?
Yes.
All right. I want to go back to Amy Winfrey. You know, I'm trying to sort of figure out like a theme in a lot of your work, and I see this sort of underlying thread of food that sort of pops up all the time. You follow me?
Yeah, I think I do.
Right. And I'm curious how you sort of determine or weigh the comedic value of certain foods over others. Like, how do you know that a Vienna sausage or a single peanut is funnier than, say, a bouillon cube or a, you know?
Yeah, it's a very subtle art. You
Right.
have to go to school for several years. And
Get a
that's sort of-
degree.
Yeah.
Just making a mockery of the question, but I'm being serious. This is like...
I'm sorry.
This is a...
No, I don't know. But I do know that there is a food theme going on.
Right.
Things being eaten, and I don't know. Eating's funny.
I've been to Amy's house, and I've looked through her bookshelf, and there's literally books with just single word titles, like it just says the word corn, you know, or beets.
So she wasn't kidding. She
Yeah,
has
I mean,
a whole book on corn. She's
See,
studying
I'm
it.
studied. I was being serious.
So, I mean, okay. I don't know where I was going with that, but I had to point that out. I think it was important. Amy, why don't you pick a couple of your favorite cues from the Making Fiends TV series and introduce them for this next set.
All right. Yeah, I really love the shrinking slug cue when we first see the shrinking slug as it slides towards Charlotte. I think that's a great one.
That is a great one.
It was just two instruments.
Right.
You know,
but one of them was the
Shovel?
Mellotron.
Yeah, right.
Right? The shovel, yes. The garden hoe.
And the other is a Mellotron.
Yes.
Well,
Right.
And a bird feeder.
Mellotron is actually an instrument that uses audio cassettes inside of it, so that when you hold down the keys, the tape heads kind of go down.
Each key is a cassette.
Yeah, and there's a spinning piece of tape that the tape head goes down on and starts playing a certain pre-recorded sound. So
Google Mellotron. You'll
Wow.
never...
Where
I think
did you
there's a
even learn about
Crazy
this?
to,
Yeah?
to describe.
I think there's
Right.
a documentary coming out soon,
Really?
actually. Mhm.
Oh, okay.
About the
I'll have to
Mellotron.
send
It's an
you the link to
amazing
that.
instrument.
cool.
Yeah.
So weird.
Yeah, so in the slug cue, I used the Mellotron sound of a woman singing, oh, something like that. So let's listen to those.
Really enjoyed when Charlotte first goes to the land of cheese and sees the cheese people. Ego had a really creative way of going about that track. Ego, do you want to say anything about that?
Ooh, she turns the interview on the interviewer.
You stumped me.
Or not.
Oh, wow. This the...
you blew water.
Right.
With
This is
straws
the one
into
where
water.
I used straws into different cups with water and just recorded bubble blowing. And after that, I just listened to all these different patterns of bubble blowing and found rhythmic elements.
And then he was really worried when he presented to us.
Right, right.
That we were going to hate it, but we
Yeah.
loved it.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
really amazing.
Yeah. also enjoyed the puppies. From Puppies, Puppies, there's a cue of science when they're looking at the fiend multiplier.
Oh, right. Again, that's another one that just uses I was scraping on metal. What was it? I had a small shovel or something that I scraped to get some of the sounds in the beginning of that cue. Yay!
Yeah. Oh. I'm getting a tummy ache. I'm so full of good music. Oh.
That's the torta.
Oh, right. That might be the torta.
Amy, let's talk about the songwriting process here, because obviously songs are a big part of the show. It's like from thinking of the words to the melody. Just take me through that a little bit.
Sure, yeah. Usually when I write a song, I just have an idea for a tune in my head as I write the lyrics. So that I would usually just sing a kind of temporary track of the song and give that to Ego, and sometimes tell him a little bit about what I would like to hear with it. But mostly I just left him on his own to try to figure out what to do with my off-key singing temp track, and it was a fun process to hear what he came back with.
So let's sort of let the audience hear this process. I'm gonna play something that you've never shared with anybody before. This is the original demo for the theme to Making Fiends from the actual television show.
Once there was a little girl, a girl who could make fiends. She kept the whole town terrified, the girl who could make fiends. Then there came another girl who wanted to be friends. Vendetta cannot stand her, so she plots her end. Making fiends, Vendetta's always making fiends, while Charlotte makes friends.
Woo, that was slow.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the very beginning, Nickelodeon said that we had 45 seconds for our theme song.
For our show opening.
Yeah, and then they suddenly told us at the very end, 30 seconds. So it became a little peppier, and we had to lose a bit of the intro.
Right.
Outro.
One of the things I did was I came up with 3 initial versions. One that was more focused on like pipe organs, one that was more focused on xylophones. I'm just going to play really short clips of the 3 that I did here. So go ahead and listen to these.
Once there was a little girl, a girl who could make fiends. She kept the whole town terrified.
So this is like a nice, happy, twinkly version, I suppose.
Then there came another girl who wanted to be friends. Vendetta cannot stand her, so she plots her end.
Okay, so next was this pizzicato version. That's kind of like a plucked violin thing. Little light and airy once again.
A girl who could make fiends. She kept the whole town terrified, the girl who could make fiends. Then there came another girl who wanted to be friends. Vendetta cannot stand her, so she plots her end. Making fiends, Vendetta's always making fiends.
So again, that wasn't quite right. A little too happy and gallopy. So the next move was to try the pipe organs.
Terrified, the girl who could make fiends. Then there came another girl who wanted to be friends. Vendetta cannot stand her, so she plots her end. Making fiends, Vendetta's always making fiends.
At this time, we found out what was originally supposed to be 45 seconds was now cut down to 30. So one of the only solutions we had was to speed up the track. Ultimately, I think it was a good idea. And another thing I did in the song was I changed the beginning to a minor key, which definitely darkened it up. I also remember at that time I had been listening to this one piece of music over and over. It was a cue from the Disney film Alice in Wonderland, where Alice goes and meets the Mad Hatter. I guess it's called the Unbirthday song. So the instrumentation in that was quite an inspiration, and you'll hear some of that in this Making Fiends theme as well. These jugs and pump organs and sort of deep contrabassoon sounds.
Once there was a little girl, a girl who could make fiends. She kept the whole town terrified, the girl who could make fiends. Then there came another girl who wanted to be friends, and Etta cannot stand her, so she plots her end. Making fiends, Vendetta's always making fiends while Charlotte makes friends.
Yay!
Wow, that sounded final. Hey, I have a question.
Go ahead.
What'd you think, Amy? Like with the thing, with where it started and where it finally ended up. Did you feel like it lost anything by having to speed it up? Yeah, the theme song. Or were you?
I did miss a little bit of what we had added on to the end in the beginning, but in the end, I became used to it. But when I go back to listen to my web series one, it sounds very slow now. And
Right.
I didn't realize how much we had to speed that thing up to get it in the 30 seconds.
Right.
But I didn't want to lose any of the new lyrics that I had, so.
Do you
had
think
to
it
be that
lost
way.
anything in terms of tone, or do you think it was like what it gained in energy kind of made up for?
I think that it's around the same. Some people say that they think it's happier, but I think that's probably just because of the tempo, and there wasn't much we could do about that. So.
Right.
Yeah, no, I'm really happy with how it turned out.
This is something that's always kind of fun and interesting. Were any of you guys willing to confess about any subliminal messages or interesting things you've hidden in the cartoon?
I had a poster in the back of the classroom that said A is for alimony. And so they were making us choose something new to put there. Because
With A.
alimony is a serious issue that affects children across the country. So Aglaia, every day I would walk into my office with a new A is for something. And yeah, they were all
It
really
was
good.
like Abomination was pretty good. I think
Yeah, that's what we ended up with.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, but
Amputation.
you had amputation.
They
and,
tried that in abortion.
yeah.
Yeah. That didn't work.
Assassination.
Yeah, every day is something new.
Assimilation. They were all pretty good. Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. Alcoholism.
Alcohol, yeah.
Alcoholism.
Alcoholism.
Right, I forgot about that.
But Abomination ended up on the wall, so.
Yeah.
That's really great. Was there any other stuff that Nickelodeon said you couldn't do, or you should?
Well, in the very beginning, they told us, don't mention Hitler and don't hit people in the head. And then we hit people in the head. So I don't know if we could have mentioned Hitler.
I think we were working up to mentioning Hitler,
Yeah.
and then it just didn't. We didn't get that far.
I think you're allowed to hit Hitler on the head.
Ah,
Right?
yeah,
Right.
that's probably
We
okay.
Probably, I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think that
That
we
was gonna
were
happen if
we
the
were
show had
often
gone on.
saved by the fact that our characters did not look very human. They looked stylized enough that we were allowed to have more bad things happen to them than if they had been flesh colored and more proportioned.
Anatomically
correct. Yeah.
Right.
They were kind of treated like Muppets.
What's interesting about Making Fiends is, even though I appreciate shows with the potty humor and the innuendo and all that sort of stuff, there's a sort of purity to Making Fiends that, not to say that it's like a wholesome show, but it sort of exists in a world of its own that doesn't need to reference popular culture or popular music or just things that are current, which makes it very unique because most shows, animated shows, they seem to sort of reference the real world, and this doesn't.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I think it's very innocent. It's pure in a way.
Innocent, but it also traded on cruelty and
Yeah, I was gonna say, I wouldn't-
violence.
I mean, it's twisted.
Yeah,
it's pretty twisted.
I
Like,
call
don't
it-
get me wrong,
Yeah, right.
but it's
Gently
not,
subversive.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, no, it's I hate the pop culture kind of reference things. I think that's annoying.
Right.
So it's something.
But it
I
does
mean,
make
I've
it
always
sort of
been
a timeless. It's sort
yeah.
of timeless and classic in that respect.
Yeah.
Like you could watch these same shows 30 years from now, and they would still hold up
It
the
would
same
just be
way.
like, whoa, look at that huge cell phone, and that would be it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's the only way you'd know.
A lot of people love the show the way it is online. So that must have been really challenging to sort of try to create this thing. Is it a replacement? Is it a continuation? Is it an evolution of it? I mean, how did you sort of deal with that whole issue? I mean,
See, I view it as something that's different and separate from the web series. So I didn't feel bad about making some changes to my web cartoons when I adapted them to being a TV show. And I didn't mean that as a sort of like, I felt like the web series would always exist how it is, and it's always my own independent vision. But when I brought it to TV, I wanted things to be a little different, just so people wouldn't be just seeing something just completely repeated. So there'd be something new for them to see. But I think some people interpreted that as, Nickelodeon made me change this.
Right.
Which, I mean, there are little bits that I had to do. Like, you couldn't say Hellcat. But, other things, I just wanted to make it fresh and different for people to see. So
you're listening to Ebola Music Radio. I am Ego Plum, and I'm here with the creators of Making Fiends, the Nicktoons television series, which so happens to be the #1 original program on that channel right now.
Yeah.
Hey.
In your face, not Nicktoons. In your face, other cartoons.
Okay, well, I'm sure everybody wants to know, what is the future of Making Fiends? I'm asking this to anyone and everyone.
The future is a mystery.
Yeah.
But the things that we do know are that during the production of the 6 episodes, we wrote an additional 7.5 hours. So those are waiting to go. And hopefully by the fact that, we got good ratings, something will go forward with this, but we don't really know. We haven't heard anything.
Dave, do you have anything to add to that? I mean, do you have any insight that maybe we don't, since you are the one with the Emmy?
Well, when I was talking to my Emmy this morning, it said that...
Bring it out for us to see. You have it in your backpack right there.
Here, let me, yeah. I know. Okay, let me put this away so we don't get distracted.
I'm blinded.
No, I wish I did know more, but yeah, I don't. You're right. I mean, I hear the same things that Amy's heard, that it's doing really well on Nicktoons, and maybe that would mean that they'll play it on Nickelodeon proper, and then maybe that could lead somewhere. I mean, it's kind of unfortunate. It never sort of really got its due, in a way. It never really got a big premiere like most shows do. So, it's tough to say, and it's kind of unfortunate, but it seems like the people that have found it really like it.
So, let me just go through all you guys here. I want to know what you guys are working on now. Dave, what are you up to?
Well, let's see. Okay, most recently, I just had a baby.
Oh.
I know. I didn't have it, actually. My wife did, but I was there in the room, and I high-fived the doctor when the baby came out, which can be very messy. I don't recommend it. But professionally speaking, let's see. I just had a gallery show. I did some artwork and had my first gallery show, and it's actually up at a place called Wall Art. They're keeping it up sort of in their permanent collection. If anybody, that's Wall Art in Hollywood, California.
And I heard you actually sold some work in Japan recently. Is that right?
Yes, apparently I did. There's a very influential lady bought one of the pieces, and apparently she's very well connected, as they say.
Very nice.
Yes. I'm sure it's going to lead to medium-sized things.
So what else?
Let's see. I also just finished a children's book, and I am shopping it around right now, trying to find a publisher. Shopping it around, as they say here in the biz.
In case people missed it, you just did the little quotes in the air with your fingers.
Right.
Is it still like a top secret thing? Can you tell us what it's about or anything?
No. No. You'll just have to wait.
Okay.
Calm down. Yeah, I want to talk about it, but it's probably not a good idea yet.
Okay. Fair enough.
Let's see. And then in the area of TV and film, I'm actually entertaining a few offers right now. I've got a few exciting offers on the table. I'm just kind of weighing it out, seeing what sort of makes the most sense. But again, I can't really go into too much detail at the moment. I live a very mysterious life.
Right. So basically, you can't talk about anything you're doing.
That's what I'm trying to say.
All right, got it.
Yes.
Excellent. Thank you, Mr. Wasson. If people want to sort of keep up with what you're doing, is there any website or any place, or your home phone number or anything we can have?
I'm glad you asked. Yeah, let me give you my home phone number. No, how about a web address?
Let's do it.
That would be www.davewasson.net.
What happened to the .com?
Once again, www.davewasson.net.
Okay, Amy.
Not David. DaveWasson.net.
Great. Amy, talk about this new web thing that you just made.
Oh yeah, I just made something called Squid and Frog, and it's a combination of puppets and animation. It's kind of two characters that tend to do things that they regret. Right now, I'm doing a song called
I know that.
You can't learn surgery from television, and hopefully I'll get that out in about a month or two. But I'm also working on a lot of other smaller projects too, so it might take a while.
What kind of smaller projects?
Various smaller projects.
Like top secret stuff, you mean?
Yeah, top secret.
Interesting. Okay, and where would we go to watch the Squid and Frog or learn about the top secret stuff?
You can go to amywinfrey.com, and there are links to all my other online cartoons.
Great. Okay, and Aglaia, how have you been, and what the heck have you been up to?
I just finished a short film that I just posted on YouTube and on my website. It's called When I'm Sad. And what?
I had a sneeze coming, but it went away.
I was like, what is he doing?
I'm like, what is happening?
All right, go on. Sorry.
Yeah, no, and I'm preparing for an art show in May in downtown Los Angeles in a gallery called The Hive. And I'm starting a t-shirt line. Like I'm designing some t-shirts. And a few other little things I'm working on here and there. And all that could be seen on my website.
And your website?
Which is www.aglaiamortcheva.com.
Go ahead and spell that for us.
Hold on. AGLAIAMORTCHEVA.
Okay, so that covers everything. Now, what I actually did was I made an announcement about this interview, and I had people online submit questions. And so let's go through those, and anyone can answer if they want to. Anthony in Gasaway, West Virginia wants to know, if you lived in Clamville, would you would you be Charlotte's friend, or would you kiss Vendetta's ass like everyone else?
I think you pretty much have to kiss Vendetta's ass if
Yeah.
you want to survive.
Yeah,
You wouldn't last very long if you were Charlotte's friend.
It would be
Clamberg, excuse me.
It would be a difficult thing. Yeah, I'm afraid I'd end up like Marion.
Right. Okay. How do you pronounce NGO? The name. I think it's a Vietnamese name.
Oh.
Go Quang Trong from Edmonton in Alberta, Canada wants to know, Aglaia, can you use Vendetta's voice to say, Nickelodeon, I do not like that stupid studio?
No.
Okay.
Not if she wants to work again.
No, if I want to work again in that town.
Okay.
Or have a bounty on my head.
Timmy, who's 7 years old from Temecula, California, wants to know, why was all the hard work you guys did on Making Fiends squandered by putting your show on Nickelodeon's lesser and hardly watched Nicktoons network with virtually no promotion or even a press release?
Well, that's so strange. That sounds a little bit like, yes.
He's pretty savvy for a 7-year-old.
Timmy is not going to live much longer.
Boy, Timmy, I wish we could give you a good answer for that, but I'm afraid.
Timmy's not afraid to ask the hard questions.
Okay, well, that's it. I want to thank my guest, Miss Amy Winfrey, Aglaia Mortcheva, and Dave Wasson for being in the studio today. I am Ego Plum, and you are listening to Ebola Music Radio. We'll see you again in another couple of weeks with another show. Thank you.
You are listening to Ebola Music Radio with Ego Plum.